good online today with Kwavi. It's another beautiful Sunday. This is a shout out from Nigeria to all those who are watching in and out of the country, and this is just me saying thank you for being a part of this. I've been getting tremendous feedbacks from some of my friends who are not within the nation. We're talking about people from United States, from the UK, and so on and so forth. So I want to really take time today to really appreciate you guys and tell you guys thank you so much. You guys are the reasons why I am still online doing what I do. So I want to thank every one of you again for participating in the comment section. For those of you who have been commenting, for those of you who have been sharing, I sincerely appreciate you. And this is me saying thank you. Again, I would like to inform you that the YouTube page for EX-HALE Online with Kwavi is still available. If you have not started following, please do so. I really need your support out there. So if you could go on YouTube, just subscribe, like, share, get your friends to like it as well. And let's keep this show going and let's keep it on the waves. Thank you so much for those of you who have already done so. I really, really appreciate the support. So we've been talking about breaking unhealthy patterns, and for about a few weeks now, we've been talking about breaking unhealthy sexual patterns. Yesterday, I went out with a very wonderful person. I call her Big Sis, Tukumbogiwa. I want to say a big shout out, by the way. Thank you. I am loving my Sunday outfit for today. Thank you for making me look extra special, and also a tremendous shout out to Culture, who was responsible for making this outfit. Come on, if you guys want to look as amazing as I do, trust me, please just reach me in my DM and I'll hook you up. So yesterday we went out, and we went out for a little outing, and at the end of the outing we sat down and we were really talking about what are these root causes of the sexual patterns and how they have affected our lives, not just as young adults or young children, but even as grown adults today who are even parents of our own children. And I was trying to enlighten them and telling them, about the consequences sometimes of parental negligence and how it tremendously affects the life of the little small kids and babies that are entrusted in our care. Yes, I say babies, I said yes, babies, because some of the victims of some of these assaults or abuse are as little babies as they are, So today I want to take it up a notch, and I want to talk about young adults because, when I talk about the consequences it has on children, these children didn't just start today. Like I said, that we have young adults who are from preteens to probably, the early 20s, who have, in fact, I feel are the greatest victims of unhealthy sexual patterns. And so today I'll be talking to young adults specifically, and matured adults. If you want to follow, please follow, because in case you are a guardian or a parent or a sibling to a young adult, you may want to pay attention to this so that you be able to help them guide their steps and know what is wrong. Now, we talked about peer pressure as one of the root causes, and often not. Most of these pairs are pairs who have either indulged in sexual activities already, maybe at a very early age, either by, child abuse, molestation at childhood, or, who out of childhood trauma grew up and used sex as a way of drawing negative attention to themselves. Now, a lot of preteens and teenagers have found themselves, entangled in this thing called unhealthy sexual behaviors. And like I told you, one of the greatest influence aside peer pressure of friends is the social media platforms that we find ourselves. Now, a lot of social media platforms allow for these young teens or these early young adults to be able to express themselves sexually, or to be able to see things from a sexual perspective. Now, we have quite a number of apps. We have a lot of, not just apps, but we have a lot of, sites that come up on social media that, allow for things like this. Now, I'm not really one to really call out certain sites and all that, and I'm not going to do that for the sake of, my own Facebook rights. I don't want to violate any rights in the communal activities of Facebook. But, there are certain sites that you would go on that promote pornography, that promotes, unhealthy sexual lifestyles, and that encourage, sexual interactions between, the person watching and the other person who has availed themselves through these sites to be of sexual pleasure or excitement, if you understand what I mean, to the person who has chosen to log on to these sites. Now, it will amaze you that a lot of young adults have found themselves already wrapped in it. And, one of the root causes, like I always say, is when you fail to call out or to recognize, well, most people tend to recognize it, but they don't want to call it out. When you fail to tell yourself the truth that, look, this pattern that I have found myself is a trap for me, it keeps you roped in, because whatever you do in secret, whatever you keep in secret long enough is like a stronghold on you. You find it difficult to let go because it's not exposed, So what you persist in doing, you cannot resist in doing, right? But as long as it is exposed, as long as something, have you ever been caught in either an illicit affair, or cheating on your spouse, or cheating on your boyfriend or girlfriend? There is a way it hits differently. The drama, the trauma, and everything that comes with it is like a checkmate for you to wake up and stop that activity. It's a way for you to tell yourself, you know what, I didn't plan on getting caught, but now that I'm caught, I need to stop, right? But only a fool will get caught in a mess and tell themselves that, okay, now that I've been caught, I'm going to continue. I don't care anymore. You'd be a fool to think like that, because you're no longer hurting that person. You're not hurting yourself, because you're putting yourself in a place of compromise where everybody looks at you with a lot of disrespect, with a lot of shame and disdain for you as a person. Because if you have been caught in such a thing, and rather than being, apologetic about it, rather than being remorseful about it, you keep telling yourself that, oh, you are in the right. Like someone I was dating back, and the person was caught into multiple affairs with different women, and the person was like, I'm single, I have the right, I can do what I want, I can sleep with whoever I want. But you see, that is only a fool can reason in that manner, because if you tell yourself that, the disrespect, the disdain that comes around it, because people who have respect for you, you may think people do not know, or people will not find out. But look, if one person find out, it's only a matter of time. A lot of people will find out, because before these things are found out, it takes a lot of people talking, a lot of people gossiping, a lot of rumors coming out. And sometimes, it just has a way of setting yourself up for destruction. So everything you have built over the time, your credibility, your name, your integrity, just goes out of the window only because you refuse to tell yourself the truth. But you see, I'm not talking about people like that. I'm talking about people who have been roped in this circle, who have been entangled in this web of unhealthy sexual behavior, that tell themselves that, now that, it's been identified, it's been out there in my face, now I know that this is what people know about me. I need to stop. I can't keep hurting not just my partner but myself. And most often than not, especially young adults, some of them are not even in relationships, but they are already wrapped in that web. Like I told you, some rely on pornography, they cannot help it, so it gives birth to this unhealthy pattern of I lock myself behind closed doors, and when everybody's sleeping or when no one is looking, I'm masturbating. And now this masturbation now has a way of becoming an addiction. It keeps you locked up, it keeps you bound, because you're not talking to either a therapist about it, or you're not talking to your parents about it, or you're not talking to someone who can be of help to you. It keeps increasing its appetite. And trust me, masturbation may seem pleasurable at that moment, but I want you to know that the more you get yourself into it, the more you find yourself unable to get out of it. So masturbation is literally one of those very unhealthy sexual traps that keep you in a loop of unhealthy pattern, that if you do not expose it and deal with it, it becomes a part of you, and it can rob you of a very fruitful relationship going forward in the future. Because now when you find someone, you already know what it means to self-gratify, so you do not need someone. You feel it's not necessary to commit to anyone because you already know what to do for you. And I'm talking about young adults, because most of the time people who, I'm not saying that we don't have matured adults or married people who are not engaged in either pornography or sexual masturbation with themselves, but majority of the time you find that very conversant around young adults from preteens to early 20s. And these people, because it's something that they know is not right, because they know it's not an approved thing, it's often done in secret. So I always tell people that the worst unhealthy patterns are often done in secret. Reason, because we know that if it comes out, it's something that will bring either shame, disrespect, disdain to us and to our names. So most people find themselves in that loop of it. And then I'm talking to you as either parents or guardians to young adults who have them right under their your roof, and you're not paying attention. Because at this point, especially for the young teenagers who are going through puberty, now their bodies are already changing, so their hormones are already all over the place. They're curious about so many things. Why the sexual changes in my body? Why is my breast getting bigger? Why is my sexual organ enlarging? Why am I having pubic hair all over the place? Why do I wake up having wet dreams? Why do I wake up? Why do I see the opposite sex and I have this butterfly turning in my stomach and I wasn't having it before? Why is it that now when I see a young woman or a young guy, I am lusting because I want to know? And then of course the peer pressure begins to come in, because most of the time teens have a way they confide in themselves. They're closer to themselves because they feel we're all going through the same thing, so it's easier to talk to each other rather than going to talk to maybe a parent or a matured mentor or someone who could actually help us guide what we're feeling or guide this puberty stage that we're going through to enable us make the right decisions and right choices. So majority of the time you have these young teenagers who are confused about what it is they feel. So I've raised teenage girls, and I've watched them go through the emotions where we talk about sex, we talk about relationships, and I see how they all of a sudden, from girls who, when you talk to them about, oh, what about this guy? Oh, please, oh, God forbid, oh, gross. I'm not, Now you have them, when you talk about it, they're blushing, right? They're blushing and they're like, oh, but this guy is cute. Oh, have you seen him? He's to die for. Now they're conscious that, okay, their feelings. Now, if you're not a very wise parent and you ignore these transformational phase in their lives. You may end up losing your children to a very unhealthy sexual kind of lifestyle, and trust me, you may never know, because like I told you, often it is done in secret, because most of them start engaging in all sorts of things. Recently I was made a mentor to a very young teenage WhatsApp platform, and I had just gotten into the platform to talk to them about one or two things. So because I was still a member of that platform, I see the way they chat. I see the kind of things they do. It would amaze you to know that your young boys and girls of 15, 16, 13, they're using the F word like it's just a common slang, and they send each other stickers. These stickers you would see, and they're literally sexual stickers. If you're on WhatsApp, the little WhatsApp stickers that come out, you're seeing sexual stickers, and I'm just watching, and I am observing what they're doing. I really didn't want to come out and say anything, because if I say anything, I won't let them express themselves. I really wanted to see them express themselves in their behavioral patterns, so that whenever I do have this conversation, I know how to channel that energy. Because at this age, like I told you, most of them feel they understand what's going on with them, and most of them actually feel they understand what sex is all about, and have no idea that they really know next to nothing about sex. Like I used to tell my daughters, the least of your problems is getting pregnant, right? Or getting a woman pregnant, getting a girl pregnant. That's the least of it, because if you have very, very supportive parents, they could help you go through that phase and help you raise. But we're talking about other traumas that come with it, from STDs, terminal sicknesses, all sorts of damage. And then for those who, after they have put themselves out there, experience a very massive heartbreak, and most of them will experience massive heartbreaks, it becomes very painful. And those who do not know how to handle those heartbreaks either become a shadow of themselves, or they become one who enjoys, just having random sex, because they now feel, why should I be committed to one person when I could just sleep for free and just go my way, So there's a lot of things that are associated for these young adults, and until they have people to aid and guide their emotions, aid and guide how they actually should be channeling that energy that they feel sexually towards something else, they may end up becoming slaves of a sexual pattern that they didn't bargain for. Now, I'm saying this because at some point, parents, we were all teenagers, right? And we all thought we had it all figured out, but a lot of us made a lot of costly mistakes, myself inclusive. And there are people today, when you sit back and you think about, you ask yourself, why did I even allow myself sleep with such a person? Because now that, this person, it was not even worth it. If I knew that this person was, you see the person, you know that this person, you had no business being there, and it's nothing but regrets, shame, and the guilt of it sometimes is so much damaging. Now, one of the key things that keeps people trapped in these sexual patterns, especially the young adults, is this thing called shame. Now, once you have allowed yourself to get into those webs, oftentimes, like I told you, when nobody is there, you feel bad about it, you feel guilty about it, because you know that, look, what I am doing is not right. If I get caught, it's going to be a problem for me. It's affecting my studies, it's affecting so many things to do with me. I am not feeling free, and all that. And because of the shame of it, you don't want to tell anybody. You just keep it to yourself, right? Or I talked to a young girl once, and she came and she was trying to tell me, oh, I've disappointed you, oh, this, that. She didn't know who to talk to, but she felt I was the only person she could open up to, and she now told me, oh, I am pregnant. And I looked at her and I said, you know what, I'm so grateful that you were bold enough to actually tell me. I was waiting for you to actually do that. And she was like, really? I was like, yes, 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 because it's obvious that you were, but probably not everybody would pick it up, but I could, and I sat with her and I started getting to the root of why and how she got to that place, and it was someone who, she thought she had something for. It was a copper. For those of you who are in Nigeria, when we said coppers who come in to do NYSC, the National Youth Corps program, and these they come in, and after a few weeks in the camp, they're sent out to various part of their cities of assignment, to actually serve community and serve their nation ultimately. So she ran into one of these guys, and this guy professed love, and of course every young girl, when you experience that, it tells you, oh, this guy loves me, and he starts telling you things, and you're looking at somebody who just graduated, he's serving, so most likely after this, oh, he's going to get a job, or it's going to get to marriage, so you're hopeful, you're dreaming. And unfortunately she was so hopeful, and this guy was very persuasive about, if you love me, sleep with me, and all that. Now she knew all the right values, she was taught all the right values, but again, at this stage, like I said, if they're not guided, oftentimes they make the wrong choices. Now she slept with the guy, and unfortunately, she got pregnant, and the guy actually told her, well, whatever it is, she get rid of it or whatever, and just left her to her fate, and kept on denying that he was not the one. But okay, she went ahead, she concealed it for a season, but time came, it had to come out, because no matter what you do, pregnancy has a way, it shows itself, and it had to come out. But there was a very good support system around her to help her navigate that storm. But suffice to say that her entire life took a complete turn, a complete change. Now, oftentimes we all go through these wrong choices that we make because of either emotions that we have at a particular second. And often, most young ladies specifically tend to give in to guys because, like I said, either you are dealing with something from way back in the childhood, or from peer pressure, or maybe you spoke to a friend and she's encouraging you that, what, there's no problem, you just go ahead and have sex. Everybody's doing it. Like I was sharing with somebody, when we were growing up, it was almost like a shameful thing if you are not a virgin, but now it's almost a shameful thing if you are a virgin. So they encourage you to, what's there? How do you know? And like somebody told me, how do you know you're getting the real deal if you don't taste it? Well, if you keep tasting every raw deal that comes before you, trust me, you will end up becoming a deal. No. And I think I was sharing this some few, I can't remember when, but my friend was telling me something, and the person said, look, well, I'm speaking from a male perspective. Well, sorry, we had a little break in transmission there, but we're back, so thank you for those who are still on. So, well, like he said, a lot of people, he said, a lot of guys have a thing about them, they have issues with women who have probably slept with quite a number of guys and everything, so I asked you, okay, fine, yes, but don't they feel that women also feel the same about men who have slept with several, ladies and all that? But you see, that's just the point. Everybody has issues with it, because everybody in their right mind would want someone that is valuable to them and them only, so that's the issue. But why is it that we find ourselves at the end of the day with multiple sexual partners over the years? And that's because of an unchecked, unhealthy pattern. And you find out that oftentimes we make the same errors in relationship over and over again, because once you start a loop and you do not figure out what the root cause of that failed route is, before you know it, it becomes a root that begins to bear fruits, and oftentimes the results are the same. And it's the same thing with every other thing in life. If you are doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results, the only way to get a different result is by doing it differently. And the only way to do it differently in this situation is to identify those unhealthy routines and expose them. Well, I'm not saying come out and shout on the network, oh my God, guess what? I've been masturbating for years, or I have a problem with pornography, or I have a problem, I enjoy sleeping around. I'm one that enjoys sleeping with multiple guys or multiple women at the same time. They call it threesome. Now it's ridiculous, but I hear a lot of people always ask, are you into threesomes? Are you into foursomes? And you'd be surprised that most of our young adults are already doing it. They're already so engaged in it, giving themselves, giving their bodies into, sexual orgies in a group, and they find it to be thrilling. How they do it, I really do not know, because first things first, for someone like me, I'm someone that believes in one man, one woman relationship. If you are in that person, you're in that person. And if you are with that person, you're with that person. But when you and your partner agree that, oh, I want to have, invite my friend, or you bring your friend, and then we're all sleeping together at a go, which is a thrill now. So you see young ladies right now who partner themselves, and they will tell you, okay, if you're going to sleep with me, you can't sleep with me. You have to sleep with me and my friend. And they're okay with it. So these loops and these circles are things that young adults have found themselves engaged in. And unfortunately, even grown adults, and I'm talking about people who are not just mature, I'm talking about people who are married, who have grown up children, are already engaging in this sexual kind of patterns. And if we do not look at it carefully and identify where is this thing coming from, because it was not so before, where is the dignity in relationships? Where's the dignity where, I could be with just my partner, or my spouse, or my husband, or my girlfriend, my boyfriend, and it's just us, and it's a long-term relationship that, for those of you who believe in sex before marriage, you take it and you just want to run with that and make it permanent. But in a situation whereby you are all over the place, you might want to really look carefully. What is that problem? And for parents, for guidance of young adults, I'm not saying police them. I'm not saying, make their personal life all in your face at that. No, they're young adults, especially those in their 20s. You should guide their decisions. Help them make healthier choices. Make them understand the reality and the consequences that come with these behaviors. Because, when we were growing up, I know one of the things that, like I said, I think when we first started this journey was the things that we were told about sex. Oh, we were told things like, oh, sex is, if you just touch someone, you could get pregnant. Oh, you kiss someone, you could just get pregnant. So there were a lot of lies that were told to us so that we do not engage. And then guess what? We did those things and found out that that was not true. So the quest to also know more about it allowed us to get into experiences that we shouldn't have gotten ourselves into. But you see, today we are parents, and we're repeating the same mistakes that were done to us back then as young adults. We're not sitting down. We're not having this conversation. We're not having these real conversations with our children. We're not guiding them. We're not telling them, this is what it costs me when I made that mistake. This is what it cost a few of my friends when they made those mistakes. We're not telling them. So we're also feeding them those lies, or even giving them those half-truths, because some parents will tell you, oh, I am too shy to talk to my child about things like this. And because you're too shy, guess what? Social media tells them. Their friend who already has foreknowledge about things like this tells them. People begin to tell them. And you know, any information that is told to your child that is already garnished or is twisted, you know, oftentimes, since it's from their peers, they will run with it. And you know, a lot of these children tend to have groups that they belong into. Like now, if you look on the social media, I remember some 2-3 years ago, somebody put me in a group. You know, it was a friend of mine from way back in the university, and when I found myself in the group, I was thinking it was about business or something, but then I now noticed that they were posting pornography, they were posting all sorts of things, and it was made known to me that if you could have sex within, you could find a partner within the group. And I'm like, what the hell? So I had to take myself out of that group, because if you stay long enough in those kind of groups, you know, you may tell yourself, oh, it's harmless, I'm just there, or I'm there to make friends. But trust me, one of the ways that you could get out of this, and we'll be talking about it, is to remove yourself from those kind of situations that would put you in a place where you find yourself engaging in these unhealthy sexual patterns. Because as long as you are placed where it is, you cannot tell me you're somebody who does not drink or smoke, and then your entire clique of friends, what they do is they drink and they smoke and everything. Before you know it, you're definitely going to find yourself gradually creeping in, you know, to join them in it. So it's just like that. You have to be very, very careful. Young adults, if you're listening to me, if you find yourself in any of these groups, remove your presence. The healthier groups that are more innovative, they're thinking about how to enhance your brains, enhance your future. Join groups that promote you, you know, in earning certificates, in certain kind of trainings that will help your future, rather than adult groups. Because let me tell you the truth, you may think that group will help you, it will destroy you, because it will put you in an unhealthy lifestyle that you will find yourself very, 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 very wrapped in and unable to come out. And I'm telling you this because it has happened to so many people I have seen around me, because they will tell themselves they've got it under control. We've got it under control, until you don't. So on this note, I'm going to stop today, and Wednesday we'll be continuing. And on Wednesday, as much as I'll be talking to young adults, I'll also be talking to our grown adults as well, because there are things that I think you really need to know, because in the times, in the generation that we're in, like I said, sex is everywhere you go. It's online, it's in the midst of your peers, it's everywhere you go. And until you understand that it's a trap that Satan has wrapped for this end time to keep you in a place where you do not progress. It's in a trap that does not allow you to experience the best that God has for you. You will continue to find yourself in this loop. So it is my prayer that everyone that's watching, you know, if you find yourself in such a pattern and you're still struggling to get out, before we start addressing patterns on how to break it, please, you can DM me and let's have that talk, and we'll do what we can to help you get out of it. Again, please like, share our videos, and again, please subscribe on our YouTube channels. But I want to throw a quick shout out to a couple of people, as I always do, to say thank you for viewing. Thank you, T.Y. Ajiboye, I appreciate you. Thank you for joining in. Thank you, Leo Sunday, I appreciate you as well. Thank you so much, Osahawa Jari. Wow, thank you. It's always a pleasure when I see my classmates. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And wow, Shitra Badmos, another classmate. Thank you so much, guys. It's I really appreciate it. And yes, thank you. So I also see you, another classmate. You guys are phenomenal. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you for joining in. And to all those who have been popping in and out, I want to say a very big thank you for supporting and for spending your 30 minutes with me. So till I see you again on Wednesday by 5:30 p.m., I want you to know that Jesus is coming back soon. So let's prepare. Be the reason why someone is smiling and not willing to take themselves. Much love from me. Mwah.